good morning, and good morning. It had a delay. How are you? How you doing this morning? Well, I tell you, I'm doing really good. I am doing good. I have on my springtime 100-degree outfit. It's supposed to be very, very, very hot here today. So I'm looking at how can I stay cool within the reasonableness of inside outside. I don't have to go out too much today. I have to run out and do a few errands, but I'm gonna make it quick, and I'm kind of keeping it all in the same area. But I just woke up with this thought of everything is costing so much money, and I hadn't addressed this in like 2 years. And I said, in our 2 years, all of us have seen where the groceries are more, the gas is more, to, even buy as simple as, paper for your computer has gone up. And it's just absolutely unbelievable the amount of money that is being charged to us for whatever. And so my question was, are you a cash person? And that's our word for today, cash. Or are you a charge person? It's still a C. And I know that what I've done within the last couple of years is I choose not to use my credit card very often, or credit cards. I have two. I just have paid them off. I don't have any retail, and how many have a retail card? To me, the retail has gone, they were crazy long before anything hit them. Good morning, Marion. Anything hit them and saying increase in the percentages that interest has gone up to. But they were already outrageous. So when you have something that you buy on credit, like furniture for your home, or it may be a new car or whatever, the cars still used to be reasonable because they would give you a good cushion sometimes with maybe a good bonus, sign-on bonus or whatever, $1,000 off, or your car's not even moving on the road, your current car, and they'll take it, and they'll give you, 2,000 for it. Those are okay to come in on. But the retail credit cards are absolutely outrageous. Okay. And I made an effort almost 3 years ago now not to put anything more on credit for retail stuff. Even when I was working on my house and I would go over to Home Depot, here I was charging, and I finally said nope. So I have a Sears and I have a Home Depot, but guess what? I keep them down. And then Lowe's, I never had a card, but I do a lot of business at Lowe's. I just price everything. Good morning, Debbie. And I go in, I pay cash for it. I pay cash. So that's my question this morning. I want you to put a note in there as to whether you are a charge person or a cash person. And I have some facts as we're going along to talk about this morning. And I have my coffee, and I'm ready to go. I'm always ready to go. I'm always ready to talk to you all. And thank you so much for coming into the space of Are You Stuck? And let's face it, we all gonna get stuck. I don't care who we are. So it says cash or credit versus spending statistics. So here's some stats. A lot of times your cash. Okay, Debbie, your cash. Marion, you're Marion, your cash, right? Looking beautiful. Thank you, Marion. You're always so sweet. Love you guys. But anyway, it says how American consumers spending their money these days. How are they doing it? It says we're not talking about where they spend their money or what they are spending their money on. It says we're talking about the payment method consumers are reaching for when they go to pay for something. And it says a lot of people have a tendency to do some things. So here's some stats they give you. It says snapshot. Debit cards remain the preferred method. I have to do both. Okay. Debit cards remain the perfect method of payment, followed by credit cards and then cash. See, for me, cash is first if I have it. Then I'll go to debit. And rarely do I go to credit. I have to be honest with you. When I'm buying something, especially if it's something extremely reasonable, then I'm going to pay I'm going to use my debit card. Um, the other thing, if I think it's something I need to track, with some force behind it, then I'm going to use a credit. But generally speaking, that's something that I'm maybe ordering online. Then I'm going to use my credit card. But it says more than half of purchases made with cash are under $10. That's for me. If it's under 10, I'm probably just going to go ahead and pay it. If I have it on me, I'm going to use my cash. Most people carry less than $40. These are out and out statistics. Most people carry less than $40 on them. It says people will spend more when using what? What do you think? Obviously, the obvious of obvious is that people spend more when they're using credit than they do when they're using debit or cash. Makes sense to me. It makes sense. It says well, consumers will spend up to 83% more when using a card versus when using their cash. I mean, to me, I just look at people sometimes, when I'm out and they're looking at big items, rarely do they ever say they're going to pay cash for them. They said, they're going to put it on their credit card, you know. Now, me, if I have it, I'm going to put it on my debit card. I'm going to get it out the way right away because there's also a thing called interest. And so if you have interest on things that you've already used and sometimes even used up, like eating food, that's one of those for me. Like if I'm going to go out to a big meal, I'm probably going to make sure my debit can handle that. I'm not going to make it where I'm going to charge it because now I'm paying interest to the people plus the gratuity. And then I'm going to pay interest on top of for the credit card to say that they lent me the money. They were lending me the money. So it makes sense. It says it is too easy to use credit cards before you know it. That huge sum adds up. It does. It does. I know people that owe thousands and thousands of dollars. Now homes and cars, those are essential. So you will have those kinds of bills. But to have a retail bill, like at all of the stores that we love, Macy's, the Gap, J. Crew, we love these stores. But to me, when I go in them, I have enough to buy whatever I'm going to buy. And if I can't afford it, I'm probably going out without it. Even when my daughter was younger and we'd go to Disney, like the Disney store, and she loved all these characters. And when I thought it was unreasonable, I didn't buy it. I just didn't buy it. And it says, okay. But anyway, that's how I feel about the use of credit cards. It says most people use credit cards for convenience and security. That's true. So debit cards remains the top form of payment choice. So even though you may have cash, you may use your debit card only because you want to retain the cash that you have. I have a tendency to do that. It says some of what payment methods do most consumers use are to make purchases, cash or card. It says the answer is both. Most purchases are made with either debit cards or other than a credit card. The industry survey found that most consumers fall in the middle and this along the spectrum and use a variety of payment methods if they have to. It says in some 88% of consumers will use cash occasionally, and it just is what it is. And they have all of these charts in here. Here's another question: cash or credit? While cash remains a popular payment method, American consumers are using it less and less. But here's something that always kind of, tweaked my interest the last couple of years as people get to using online payment systems or online, you can go directly to the agency, to the utility company, to the telephone company, whatever it is, the cell phone company, and you can pay your bill right online. And it says that's probably reducing the amount of that people or the amount of people that use checks. And so I wrote a check the other day, and it's so foreign to me. And the last time I wrote a check was like, I don't know, 5 months ago. But I didn't want, here's my thing. I didn't want to pay the pass on fee. Do you know now certain agencies, stores, companies are charging you in order to use your debit and credit card? Did you know that? A lot of people don't know. They don't realize that there's like, I think they said the 3.5%, 3.2% that they're adding on to you using what. So whatever the cost of, say, the meal was, then they're going to add the tax. And then after the tax, they're going to add, and they're hoping you will give a gratuity. And then on top of that, they're adding 3% for whatever was charged to that card. 3.5, 3.2%. Think about it. Think about it. It almost makes you want to, and some of them refuse checks. So, as you see, it gets more and more convoluted and crystal clear of how they're doing stuff. It's all a racket. Absolutely, Debbie. Well, actually, here's what I think. What I think is that they're always moving to another location, which is more favorable to how they receive more other than less. And so before they took on the amount that it cost for the processing companies to charge them to say that the cards were acceptable and approved, they don't have to worry about that anymore. It's like, well, it's okay now. It's become, society has gotten used to it, that they will pay this fee. And so people now are backing off from that's how I ended up writing the check. But pretty soon that will probably not be an option unless I have the cash. I will be paying that fee. And a lot of in fact, a restaurant I went to with my daughter and I went to, there was a note at the bottom of the menu, and it actually, I saw it in a couple of places, and it was on the front door. If you elect to use your card, credit or debit or credit, didn't matter, whatever came first, own up to the fact that you will also have an increase of this percentage that they're adding on that the processing company is charging. So therefore, they're no longer paying it. I mean, it's just, I think they move. It's almost like a chess game. How do we get as max as we can on whatever is being required for payment? It says, here's some more information. It says, for the lower value purchases, most consumers typically will use cash rather than any kind of credit card. And it says the results show that cash is used for about 49% of transactions valued at $10, and 40% of purchases that are $25 or under are also made with the use of cash. So there's a last study they had. It's another study done by the Federal Reserve, asked survey respondents how they would typically make a $10 purchase, reveals that debit cards and cash are almost equal. So they're right in the middle. I mean, like, people have a tendency to know how they want to spend their money. And that's all I wanted to say for this portion of it. But here's the other thing I want to say. How do you take care of your cash? Do you, because to me, you may have cash on you, but you also need cash in the bank in order to make anything that you write or actually put in a card for, that the money is there. But how many of us with credit cards have gone blindsided? We just need what we need, or we want what we want, and we just purchase. And we purchase it not with the understanding that there's added interest. And, to me, long time aches to get rid of debt. It's just hard to get rid of. And you can get rid of it one week and be back into it another week, because many times, as soon as you pay for something in full, something happens to it and it breaks down. The warranty only lasted the number of years that you probably had to pay for it in the first place. That's what they do. For instance, my refrigerator did that. I had a 5-year warranty on it, and in the last 3 months of the warranty, it went kaplunky. Well, it took me months, not weeks, but months in order to get the company to turn back around and say, okay, we see what you need. We're going to try to do it. And they would address it by addressing the wrong thing that was wrong. Okay. It ended up being that they kept putting in compressors, and the compressor wasn't the issue. It was the way the coiling was running through the huge refrigerator. And they said most of the time we buy by what we see. We buy the look. We don't buy how it functions. We don't buy the real content. We buy the beauty of it. And of course, they said you have this Cadillac refrigerator. So I can open it up and look at it, and all the light shines on me like I'm on stage. Come on now. And then it malfunctions. Then you just have a big box in your house. Interesting. So you have to think about the cash that you're putting out and the cash that you have saved. Now I'm going to ask a question. Y'all don't have to answer me. How many of you save anymore or can't afford to save a little bit? My mother said, if you get $1 that's left over, and you can, and that's your high point for the month, she would always say, save at least, 35, 40 cents of it. And I always tell this story. When my mother passed away, she had $25,000 in the house, but she'd always portray herself as being poor, no money. So I don't have no money, and I need something. So we would give her something. That was part of the treasure that was found later on, but it paid for all her bills and made sure everything was taken care of after her transition. So sometimes you don't even know how things come about, but they certainly do. It is in the chess game, and we're the pawns, and we're the first to go. Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to fall down. We're going to fall down. So for me, I do try to save, as best I can, because I figure I never know when a rainy day will come, and you need something like with a new refrigerator or a new washing machine or a new car. Let's face it, they make these things, they build in the I would say their expiration dates. They build them in. So they already know that they'll give a warranty for 5 years because they only made it to last for 5, And I remember washing machines and refrigerators. I still have a refrigerator that I had when my child was probably about, I don't know, maybe 16. Still have it. I just keep water and ice and water and juices in it, but I still have it. Okay. But the new one, the one I was just telling you about, there you go. So let's talk about this word cash. Cash is this. It says cash is money in coins or notes, or as distinct from checks, money orders, or credit. Because a lot of people say I have good credit, but do they ever tell you that they have good cash? Just my question this morning. Are you stuck? Sometimes we don't have cash. I usually keep a few dollars on me, but I don't carry a lot of cash on me. I don't. I don't. And that's just me. But whatever I'm going to get, if it's something that I know is $10, I probably have $10 on me. So when we break the word down this morning, my first C, well, the C, there's only one C. The C of cash for me is cautious. How cautious are we with our money? There's a saying, and I know y'all have heard the saying, fools in their money, what's it say? They soon part. So we have to think about the money that we have and the money that we're able to keep. And some of us, okay, we can get rid of money just as quickly as ever. How clever are we? That's good. How clever? Because some of us are not clever, and we would probably be fooled by the first trinket that came by that we had to have. We get it home, and like 2 days later, not only did the trinket turn, but it turned our hand green. We just understand after a while that people are into making money, and if they can make the money that you have come over from your hand to their hand and from your pocket to their pocket, guess what? Who's the happy? They are. So when we talk about being cautious, we talk about looking out for danger, what problems are ahead of us, what we need to avoid. How do we do it? How do we have a plan to avoid spending too much, or just being, in a place where we don't have what we need when it's really needed. You know, Circumstances is good too, Debbie. Thank you. Our circumstances. It's interesting. I had a friend once who borrowed money, and they said, I'm going to give it back to you. You don't ever have to worry about me not giving it back. Well, that's the need statement. The need statements are always good. They're always going to touch you, because if you're a giving person, a loving person, a kind person, a serving person, you're going to serve. You're going to give. You're going to love. You're going to care. You give it. And they take it. They take it. To this day, I've never seen the money again. To this day. And they see me and act like they don't owe me a dime. And guess what? They know they do, because they can never go back. And they change the chemistry of the friendship, because people will stop talking to you over the money they owe you. They just will. They just will. So I'm cautious in terms of where I give my money to and who I give it to. And also, if I realize that they're on dire straits when they needed it, then I also put myself in the position that if I give it, I probably am not expecting it to be returned. But if you tell me that you're going to return it, and you know that I'm like just 5 seconds above you in terms of making sure I'm holding it down, because we were really young. But to this day, they act like they don't owe me a dime, and I've never mentioned it. Good morning, Erica. Happy Friday to you too, dear. Good to have you in the space. Today, our word is cash. How we use it, how we look at it. My C was for cautious. I am just cautiously concerned about how I spend my money. And the funny thing, the more cautious I got, the more older I had to get. You know what I'm saying? It's like when I was young, like a nickel would burn its hole in my pocket. My mother said, "Ooh, you can't wait to go up there and give." And there was a place up the street from our house, maybe about, I don't know, half a block. My mother could see it from where we walked to it, called Mr. D'Addario's. And Mr. D'Addario had a shop. And when you go in the shop, everything was laid out. Penny candy, penny pretzels with chocolate, everything you could think of. And so if I had 5 cents, man, I was rich with sugar or with salt or whatever it is. I was excited and I bought it. But as I got older, I started just holding on. Good morning, Barbara. How are you? Good to have you in the space, sweetie. Today, our word is cash and what we do with it. And I'm talking about a little childhood memory about how I used to spend my little 5 cent that was burned in my pocket to go get some candy and treats from Mr. D'Addario's in New York. But here I am, an old person now. Mr. D'Addario and all that stuff doesn't sing to me. It doesn't call me out, like my name, Sandy. Come get me. I don't feel that anymore. I don't. Good morning, Calithia. Today our word is cash. I started out with my cash being cautious with it. That's my C. That is my C. So I think of childhood, of us having that free spirit, that love, that will to want to spend that little bit of money that we get. It says, I love the penny candy absolutely, from the local store. Absolutely. And now you try to get those things for a penny candy. I went to, and like they used to get the little mints. They weren't the best mints. They weren't the New York. Okay. They were some black and green and white packers. They weren't the best mints. But anyway, those mints, used to be the pennies. And now you can go to the store, and for one of those mints, it's 15 cents. One. Okay. Now you talk about inflation. Inflation on the penny for mint. If you want it. If you want one going out the door, that's how much you're going to pay for it. When I move further on in my word of cash, my A is for assets. when I think of my cash is my asset. It's what I have. You know, candy kisses were two for a penny. That's right. You can't get no kisses like that anymore. You probably can, but you're gonna pay more for them. Okay. Well, look at the 5 quarter store now. No, no, no. It was a dollar. It was the Dollar Tree. Now it's going $1.50. Dollar 25 cent store, and you know it's going to increase pretty soon. And then they have another one called, is it Five and Below? Yeah, Five and Below. Everything is $5 or below that. You know, it's like the creativity of somebody sitting back and said, how do we fleece, these folks? We fleece them with memory. We fleece them with the concept of they're going to get something good, but they're going to pay less for it than if they go to a traditional store, so they can come here. So we can buy in bulk and we can still give it to them for a more reasonable price than someplace else. So my assets, when I look at my assets, it's simply stated, represents the value or ownership that can be converted into cash. That can be converted into cash. So if I have something that's already in cash, that's good. And then if I have other things that I can sell that can be converted in cash, or it might be bonds that can be converted into cash. Okay. Stocks, all of those things. What is it that we hold on to that has value? I've already said that probably once I move on and upstairs to the higher level of life after death, I know that you all will be able to find some good treasures in what I have. I lived in Italy. I did all those things. So people would say, yeah, let's see. Because I don't think younger people have the same sentiment or the same desire for the things that their parents might have really felt were good, pleasurable, liking, caring for. Hey, Joyce, how are you? Hey, Joyce, how are you? These are my friends from New York. Hey, y'all. Good to see you. Good to see you in the space. Today, our word is cash. So I said for my C, I use cautious. For my A, I use my assets. Although cash itself is also considered an asset. So therefore, if you have cash, you have an asset. Alignment is really good word, Debbie. How well aligned are we with what we have, which can be, placed in the category of eventual cash. Either currently it is or eventually it will be. Now, my S for cash, what would you put for your S before I disclose mine? What would you put for the S if you're dealing with cash? What would you do with cash? I know somebody has it. It's going to come right out because it's going to be the same word that I have. Debbie, you got a word for cat for the S of cash. Security. That's good. I like security. Good to see you too. But anyway, anybody else have something for their S? Save. There it is right there, Barbara. That's it. That's what I have. I have save. It says saving is income, not spent. Saving is income that you have that is not spent or deferred consumption. Methods of spending include putting money aside. As I was talking about my mother saying, if you could save a little bit of that dollar, you got more money by saving it later on down the road. Collectively, that becomes your piggy bank jar, or it becomes your vacation fund, or I have a friend who used to have a cuss jar. She had a lot of money in that jar. I ain't gonna lie, she had a lot of money. She cussed about everything, and I said, "Are you not?" I said, "Well, what are we gonna do with the cuss jar?" I said, "What to make it wonderful is if we give it away." She said, "No, girl," and started cussing, which made it funny. But I have saved, stash. That's good. Stash is good. It says methods of this and putting money aside, for example, deposit money into an account. And I know the interest rates are low. I know they are. Everybody knows that interest rates, not only are they low, they're extremely low. Some of them are 0.05. point, not even 0.5%, 0.05%. That means they're not giving you anything. Your money's just sitting in there and they're using it until you come get it. Okay. Uh, let's see. I saw some Gloria sacrifice. Oh Lord, that's a great word. Great word. How many of us sacrifice in order to say, I have a little stash over here? Not many of us. You know, we've grown up in a world once we got older and we got over, we didn't have to deal with what maybe our parents dealt with. We're denying ourselves something because we knew what it was to have nothing. So therefore, we limited how much once we got something that we would let go of. You know, we held it tight, you know. But now sacrifice for many people is very hard. It's very hard because they're used to having, they're used to getting what they want. So it says, you know, putting money aside, depositing money in an account, on a pension account, a pension account. How many of you have a what do they call them? A lifelong account, thrift plans, savings plans for after retirement, like retirement accounts. Anybody have those? I had one and I absolutely loved it. But there was a man that I worked with and said, if you don't do anything else, that TSP, every time you get an increase, you give it to them because you got used to living on what you were living on. So don't increase your spending just because they increased how much they felt your work was worth. Is that not good? Most of us are just the opposite. They say, oh man, since I got a bonus and I got this and I got that, I'm going to go out now and buy myself, a new car or vacation and sometimes you could just set it to the side, put it away. If you don't see it, you won't recognize it as being something that you have to touch. You don't see it. It's okay. It is okay. Set it to the side. So it says a pension, an investment plan. They said investment is really good if you have stocks and bonds. And I would always, with my TSP, I did the riskier groups for as long as I could until they lost money. Once they lost a good chunk of the money that I already made, then I go back to being normal. I said, no, got to go back in the safe side of the house. And that's what you do, but most people who say that they really make money are the ones that leave it out there, risk every single day. And they don't worry about when it does a dive and comes back up, because generally when they go back up, they go higher than what they went down. I mean, it's just letting you know. It says saving also involves reducing expenditures. That's when you save. It says, I believe you do need to take a vacation now and then. Absolutely. No one ever tells you, don't do what is necessary. To me, you need to connect yourself with your life to make it fun, loving, where you're keeping in touch with people. Life is short. And I truly believe that once we leave here, somebody's going to enjoy your money, but you got to enjoy some of it. But just know that you also need to save in case the rainy day comes and you won't have to be borrowing from an institution, family, friends, or wherever else you might get your money. You just don't need to do it. But anyway, there's also recurring costs. I find that sometimes people don't realize that when you've committed to certain things, like, subscriptions, magazines, streaming, videos, music, all of that. It's like they have a period where you pay, and a lot of times they'll get us in on a promotion. And then we don't realize that within the 6 months, the 3 months, the 9 months, the year has gone away so quickly that next thing we know, what's happening? Not only did they get the money that they charged you less for the first year, but it's been doubled to now you're paying an exorbitant fee. And because you gave them not your cash, because you gave them your credit cards or your debit cards, you'll find a big charge all of a sudden right on your account. And you can't explain it. Well, wait a minute, how did $350 go? Where did $400 go? Where did $250 go? Where $199 go? Well, that's where it went. That's where it went. It says charge to interest. That's right. You better believe it, Barbara. Yes, and it is an amen. And preach now. Yes, I am going to preach about that because it happened to me recently. And I said, wait a minute. I asked what happened to, it was my Cox cable bill. And they said, oh, well, the promotion that we gave you, it was $30 off for your bill. That went away. That went away in July. So now we're charging you this exorbitant amount. Like, what? They tried to find another one. I said, you know what? I've been with you a long time, but I can quit. There's other streaming agencies out there because I don't have any fancy stuff. All I have is television. Okay. I have regular channels plus the maybe some of the upper channels like BET. At one time, BET was part of the regular lineup. That and Lifetime. Well, now they done put them on a different element. Platform. And so now if you have them, they're considered to be an extension of your regular plan. Life, pay attention. They're going to get you. They're going to find another way to move to the other side of the room. It says it's happened to me as well. I need to write it down on the calendar. Absolutely. When you sign up for a service, write it down, pay attention to it, put it on your cell phone calendar, that as to when it is and when it's due, and then put that you'll be notified 2 weeks prior. So that gives you time to get on it. Make sure if you need to inquire about it. If it's still worth it, do it. If it's not worth it, get on out. Get on out. And here's the last one I have for my H. So do I. My last one I have for my H is hard currency. Cash is hard currency. You can't talk about it being soft. Okay, if you have it, it's tangible. You can touch it. You can see it. You can take it to the bank. You can go to the bank and get it. You can get it to handling. Come on now. Handling all of your business. That's good, Debbie. You right there with me. So it says it is the most recognized currency in the world, the U.S. dollar. Even though we've lost some footing, as you keep listening to the news keeps saying that we've kind of lost a few things. Hoopla. It is hoopla. It is hoopla. Yes, it is. And it says that it's the US dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen, the British pound, the Swiss franc, the Canadian dollar, and the Australian dollar. In fact, when I went to Australia, my daughter's request of me was to bring her back some Australian money. Well, I can tell you, Australia has the most beautiful money ever. It has like you can't even when you try to ball it up, like our money gets really worn out. Not theirs. It's beautiful money. Beautiful. It may have the landscape of Australia on it, or might have the animals, or, just beautiful money. I'm like, wow, absolutely gorgeous. Harvest. Yes. So, when you really look at, and harvest is HARVEST, Deb. Another what a harvest would be without the T. Is it supposed to be EST? Anyway, let me know. But our currency is good to me as long as we do good by it. But if we continue to throw it away, continue to sign up for things that we shouldn't sign up for. Oh, I thought it was harvest. Okay. I knew it was the nail. That's why I got used to you. So I see it. I see, to me, as we look at our money, we need to look at it cautiously. We need to make sure that we understand the significance of what it holds as we have it, either in a bank. Some people probably still under their bed or in between their bra. Whatever they're doing something inside their bra. They're doing something with it. But it's yours, and it is an asset because it's something you can do with it if you so choose. It also that we need to be considering how we save it, where we save it at, who we save it for, And the last thing is that it's just straight up hard currency. It's a necessity in this country. We will not be able to buy anything without the American dollars, just like you can't go to any of those other countries I just mentioned and spend your money without it being transferred over to their money. But look, I want y'all to have a wonderful weekend. Consider your cash. Look at it in such a way that it's important, more important than not. And if there's something that you have to buy, don't charge it if you can't. If you can, don't charge. Try to pay it as you go. That's my motto. That's my thing for the day. Listen, I want you to be unstuck. Okay? Are you stuck? No. Use your money wisely. Be careful this weekend. I love you very much. I appreciate all of you for coming in. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, everybody. Everybody that came in. There were several of them that jumped in and jumped out. But thank you so much. Marion, love you all. Love you. I'll see you soon. I'm back on Monday. Let's come up with another word. All right. See you soon. Take care. Be safe. Bye-bye. Oh, hit share on this. They would love to see it. Thank you so much.